now that my shaft has been stripped and cleaned and given a little bit of time to air dry, it's now ready to be fletched. Like I said, I'm using a Bitzenburger Dial-O-Fletch right helical jig. The arrow is an Easton axis, which has a very small diameter. You might get into the problem of having to mess with the jig to make sure the vane doesn't overhang off the edge of it, that it's sitting down properly. That takes just a little bit of messing around. There's no real way to say exactly how to do that, but with a couple tries you can get it within reason, where it's working well for you. So the very first thing I'm going to do, take the jig off. Be very, very careful not to touch the arrow shaft that you cleaned. That completely defeats the purpose of what you just did. See here? Throw that down in there. Now I already have my jig set up to where it's working. All I have to do is put the vanes in and put the glue on and stick it down. Now I'm going to show you how I do mine. Like I said, I do the Easton axis arrows. They're small diameter. I'm gonna get up here, do it so you can see. With the alcohol, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open this up, let it sit here, take the cap off the goat tough glue, make sure that's good. Set that here. Now it's very important. The placement of the vanes is the same on every single one. Now, the setting I use is I put the base of the vane right at the second notch, and it's about 1/8 of an inch hanging out. Very next step, now that that's in evenly, I'm going to dip a Q-tip in alcohol, do a slight rub down real quickly, and just kind of wipe off the excess, speed up the dry time. Set that down. Give it a second to dry. Looks pretty good. Now the goat tough. The biggest thing with the goat tough glue is you only need a very, very small amount. If you do get a little runoff from putting too much on, just use a Q-tip, wipe it off, help it dry. You might even be able to smear it to the top of the vane, to the front, add a little glue to the outside of it, which always helps. So just a small amount of glue will do. I usually start from the front. Just a little dab, and then a small bead, very small bead, down the length of the vane, and then I usually go down, make sure that's even. Now you don't want to waste a lot of time doing this, because this stuff will adhere very, very quickly. So, set that on, slide it down. Once it's made full contact, you want to hold it for 10 seconds. This ensures that not only is the fletch not moving, but the jig itself is staying in the same position. I like to put a little pressure on mine just to make sure it doesn't move. It really ensures a more consistent vane placement if you're going to be doing multiple arrows. So that should be about set. First thing you do is take that clamp off really quickly, grab a Q-tip. This one actually looks pretty good. There's no real runoff here. If I can show you, looks pretty good. There's a little bit, but it's nothing to worry about. That vane is going to be on there. So next step is to repeat the process. Make sure that clicks in, because you want the 120 degree offset every time. So do the exact same thing again. Second notch. Grab the Q-tip, excuse me. Wow. I'm from Michigan, by the way. Rub down once. Flip it over. Just get off the excess. Let that dry for a second. Once you can see the alcohol evaporate, you're good for the glue. Just a real small bead down the length of the vane. Some people prefer to put 2 big globs, one at each end, and then smear the glue throughout the length. That's fine too. Whatever gets the best amount of glue on your vane, I guess. It's up to you. Let's turn this a little bit more. Magnets click on, seated at the base. Slide it down, make sure it's full contact. Hold it there for 10 seconds. I can already tell that vane is seated about just a hair closer to the tip of this arrow, which is not a big deal. You know, anything within a couple hairs up or down, it's not going to affect the arrow flight. As long as the vane is seated in the proper position on the shaft, you'll be just fine. That should be good. Take that off. Yep, it's just a little bit forward, but that's okay. That happens every once in a while. Again, I got lucky with the no glue runoff. Grab another vane here. So here's the finished product. Nice arrow, fletched up, brand new vanes. Bohning blazers, 2-inch. Go Tuff glue using a Bitzenburger Fletch, ZipStrip, Comet Cleanser, alcohol, and a Scotch-Brite pad. This arrow is good to go.